So now we get to the president, and he's got the primary obligation here, even though he says far too often, for my taste, this is up to Pam Bondi. This is up to the attorney general. It's his administration. He hired these people. And although he spent part of this week criticizing his own supporters, he knows full well the importance of the presidency in trying to end this story with as much confidence restored as possible. Now, Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is something that has not been sufficiently covered. It's an interesting story, for sure. It's an important story in the current context because Donald Trump has to explain to people how he dealt with this guy. We know they had some sort of relationship. I frankly don't know nearly enough about when they met, how they interacted. Yesterday, I got a text from somebody, a prominent media figure, who sent me a video, and he said, "Is that you in this video?" And the answer is yes. I had forgotten that back in 2015 at the CPAC convention in Washington, that I'd asked Donald Trump about Jeffrey Epstein. Completely slipped my mind. What happens when you have a career that spans decades? There's probably all sorts of things in the archives that I don't recall. So here's what happened. Donald Trump was speaking at CPAC, and there was in the news the concept of Bill Clinton's association with Jeffrey Epstein. And he was being interviewed on stage by Sean Hannity, and Sean Hannity asked him about Jeffrey Epstein. Let's play that.
Okay, let me mention some names to you and just get a quick response. Hillary Clinton.
Like a one-word response, I sort of think of Benghazi. I think of a failed Secretary of State, but Benghazi was a disaster. And amazingly, I don't think it resonated like it should have, but Benghazi was a total disaster.
We learned today that, in fact, they knew from the first minutes of that attack that it was a terror attack, which I think will become a bigger issue. Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
Barack Obama.
Incompetent president.
So this is the year before the presidential campaign where he would end up facing Hillary Clinton. And Bill Clinton, someone who he knew and had a good relationship with, he's asked about Bill Clinton, and his response is not, anything else. He goes right to Jeffrey Epstein. That suggests, again, a decade ago, an awareness of the political dangers of being associated with Jeffrey Epstein. And Trump back then, as you saw there, kind of a political pundit, right? Maybe he said it for tactical reasons, but I think, knowing him a little bit, I think he just basically, that was his analysis. His analysis was, if Hillary runs, and at that point it was clear, she's going to be the front runner for the Democratic nomination, and if he faced her in the general, that this would be, he basically said, Bill Clinton's primary vulnerability. You think about all the vulnerabilities that Bill Clinton had politically. This was what he identified as primary. So the way CPAC works is, you have people on the stage being interviewed or giving speeches, and then the media is in the hallway around the big meeting room with the thousands of attendees, and politicians and other figures come off the stage, or before they go on stage, they kind of walk around media row, and sometimes they come with a specific appointment, like you're being interviewed by Steve Bannon at 3:00, so you go to his booth at 3:00. But sometimes you're just kind of walking around. And Donald Trump was walking around after his speech with his panel with Hannity. And I worked for Bloomberg News then. You'll see a couple cameos in this clip. My colleague then was Phil Mattingly, who now is at CNN. And you'll see Michael Cohen, now on the outs with Donald Trump, to say the least, but back then Donald Trump's main political handler. So Mr. Trump was walking around, and I called him into the Bloomberg booth, and here's what happened.
Hey, how are you? How you doing?
Come join us just real quick. I just want to ask you, how do you think you did?
The response was fantastic. The room was packed. We did really well. I really liked it. I had a good time, and the response, as you saw, was great.
Now, you said 80% chance you're going to run.
There's a very good chance, and I would say, I would say that I have a whole big team.
Yeah,
you can ask Al.
Al's a big supporter of yours.
Well, Al is a great guy, and he's done a great job getting this whole thing moving, right?
Thank you.
Mr. Trump, can you explain the team? We've read some stories recently. You'd hired up.
I have a team. I have a team in New Hampshire. I have a team in Iowa. I have a team in New York. We have a great team. I'm making a decision, and I may surprise you. I don't think I'm going to surprise you that much.
But a lot of people say this is still just a stunt.
Well,
because
look,
you know what? You have trouble
say,
selling stuff without publicity.
And I still get the best response. We still had the packed house. And the response was great. I really enjoyed it today, and I think they enjoyed it. But until I make that decision and actually announce, you're going to have skeptics.
We were talking to Al about the scrutiny that Mrs. Bush has gotten in the last couple of days of two big high-profile stories. What's your view about whether it's all right for reporters to write about people who may be the First Lady of the United States, including your wife if you run?
Well, she's pretty good. I don't know what you're going to find. You're going to have to let me know. But I have to tell you, they were very rough on Mrs. Bush. That was tough stuff. That was nasty.
You think it was over the line?
I don't know because I don't know her, but it was nasty.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem.
What do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends.
Well, I can't say friends, but I know
You're friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
So there's Donald Trump a decade ago on the eve of what he anticipated would be entering the campaign and then facing Hillary Clinton, saying basically Bill Clinton's political problems with Jeffrey Epstein were amongst the most serious threats to Hillary Clinton's campaign. That's an awareness of this issue that is quite striking in the current context. I believe that it's up in the air where this goes. Will there be more disclosure? What kind, if there is? If there's not more disclosure, or even if there is, how long do people continue to talk about this? There's no doubt that young people talk about it more than old people. There's no doubt that some MAGA diehards, including some people with popular podcasts, talk about it a lot. The polling is a little hard to understand because it depends on how you ask the question, but I don't know where this is going. What I do know is that it's vitally important that everyone in public life think about how can we restore trust. This is an opportunity to either restore trust or it's a threat to make things worse, to exacerbate the lack of trust in institutions. Nothing will fix it until the economics are fixed. That, as I made clear, is what I think is undergirding this. Undergirding this is not the concern about the victims, although, of course, many people are concerned about the victims. What's undergirding this is not the gossipy interest in knowing who's involved. It's not even the question of getting the specific names. It's about accountability for elites. The main accountability for elites that people in America want is economic. It's to restore the American dream, to reduce income inequality. That shouldn't be a liberal issue or a conservative issue. It's a concern of Trump voters and Sanders voters. You cannot restore the economics quickly, but that's got to be the top priority. But then at the same time, when we have moments like this, something so high profile, something so focused on by the American people, everyone needs to rise to the occasion. And that's why when the president says it's up to Pam Bondi, I just don't agree. This is the crisis for him, at least in the immediate moment, although again, some people think it'll go away, for him politically, for his relationship with MAGA. But it's about something larger. And you see that now with Democrats. Some Democrat politicians are being opportunistic. They see the first sign after a long run of success for the president of weakness, of political weakness. But I guarantee you that some Democrats, just like some Republicans, are talking about this issue not because their emails are running 90-10 against the way this is being handled, but because they think it is a crisis moment. It is an opportunity and a crisis at the same time. How can we use this moment to say to people, elites don't always win? Jeffrey Epstein's victims were not elites. They were young women and girls who were lured in by money and pressured by a powerful person. The people who associated with Jeffrey Epstein, whether they were involved in sexual abuse or not, they were amongst the world's most powerful people, literally billionaires, presidents, monarchs, corporate leaders. These people Just like COVID, just like Iraq, just like the financial crisis in 2008, elites win and everybody else loses and gets the shaft. This moment, this opportunity is to handle this in a way, it can't be perfect, but to handle it in a way that it becomes part of the story of restoring trust in our institutions, including our government and our legal system, rather than another story in a long line running straight through from Watergate and Vietnam to today, where the American people look at it and say, this ain't right. This can't be another opportunity where the elites get away with it. That's what's at stake here.